Hey, Mazzy here, and again, in continuing with my themed videos for the VC, hello VC, I'm going to do one in a different location in my house. This is my hat room. As you see, I collect hats. Actually, there's also videos and other things in this room. A little spare bedroom. It's the hat room. And in honor of the hat room, as you know, I also, as much as I love all this great music on my record, from my record collection, I love album covers. So I'm going to showcase album covers that the artists are wearing or holding hats. Silly maybe, so what, right? Wearing hats, fedoras, pork pies, cowboy hats, Panamas, Spanish sombreros. Anyway, no particular order. It's not definitive. Obviously, I picked a couple of some artists that there are a few that wear a lot of hats, but obviously this is one of my favorite series of hats that I got originally in the 90s. A woman named Marcia Akins had a company called Makins. She's now long retired. She was in the Schmata district of New York, and that's a Yiddish word. Schmata means rags, but it refers to the clothing industry. And what's interesting about these, a friend gave me one for my birthday about 16 years ago. My first Makins. They're made out of leather, but look at this. Look at the beautiful styling. These are well worn, and it's like a glove they wear, and they kind of see that? God, I love these. I don't wear them a lot now, but they're great in the rain. And you know, I get in these moods of which hat to wear. But anyway, I'm wearing this. This is kind of the burnt orange one. I have some other ones here, but you want to see records. You don't want to see hats, but you'll see hats on records. So, again, no particular order. Just finally issued on vinyl, Van Morrison's The Healing Game. I think it's his last great album. He's made a lot of albums since then, which I enjoy, but this to me was his last great one, and this came out in 1997 originally. But talk about a cool picture, right? Cool photograph. Just came out like, what, 2 weeks ago on vinyl. Obviously, Johnny Cash, cowboy hats. You'll see a ton of them. I just picked one right now. Early Columbia record. Johnny Cash, Mean as Hell, Ballads from the True West. And this has the Statler brothers and the Carter family on it. But I mean, you know, what a badass, right? I'd be remiss if I didn't include my best favorite guitar player, and you've seen me mention him many times, Ry Cooder. Paradise and Lunch, one of his best records. The song on here that I referred to on another earlier video, in a jazz video I did, was Earl Father Hines playing piano on Diddy Wah Diddy with Ry Cooder. That track alone is worth the price of admission, but this is a wonderful, wonderful record. And double whammy for me, it's got hats and martinis. At least I think that's a martini. Looks like a maraschino cherry in there, which you would never put in a martini, but an all-time fave of mine. You know, I could do a whole section on Bob Dylan, and I have done that. Yesterday I showcased Nashville Skyline because on April 9th it celebrated its 50th anniversary. It came out in 1969, but obviously I'm just going to show that quickly, and there's a hat. But obviously one of the great albums of Dylan, To Desire, with Hurricane, Isis, One More Cup of Coffee, Sarah. Beautiful record, but great hat, right? And Bob Dylan and the band, you know, the Basement Tapes. I mean, we got the whole, pretty much the whole crew, or almost the whole crew, wearing hats. Love that photograph. Not his newest album, but the one before, John Hyatt, great songwriter. Obviously crossed over and did a Little Village Band with Ry Cooder. One album only, Ry Cooder, Jim Keltner, Nick Lowe. I just think this is a great photograph. Unfortunately, I didn't look up to see who took the photograph, but I like this packaging. And he's a great songwriter. So many people have covered his work. You know, the Nick of Time album by Bonnie Raitt is probably his biggest hit that you know, but a lot of other artists. But his stuff is so great, John Hyatt. Great photograph, too. Heavy Weather Report. This is their fusion biggest hit album because of the song Birdland. It's one of those records that when we play it in the store, when I worked in record stores, even if someone wasn't into jazz, they'd hear Birdland and they would ask who it is and buy this record. So it was a big hit. And then later, John Hendricks from Lambert, Hendricks and Ross wrote lyrics to it. But great album. You know, I could do a whole thing also on Frank Sinatra, who wears the hat well, wore his hat during almost all the recording sessions. Just was a call about dapper. Those pictures of him in the Capitol Records, Capitol Studios in Hollywood on North Vine and Hollywood Boulevard, just great. But you know, I can't wear hats like he wears, but they're so cool, right? Come dance with me. Sing along with me. It's all about me, huh? Me and Frank Sinatra. Me as Frank Sinatra. But two great records there. Are We Not Men? We're wearing a hat on the first Devo record. I had to stick a Beatle in there somewhere, you know. So My Brave Face collaboration when Paul was writing with Elvis Costello for Elvis's Spike album and McCartney's not Flaming Pie, the reddish orange one, Flowers in the Dirt album. But this is a 12-inch single of My Brave Face. Kind of a cool. Finally a Beatle wearing a hat. And then a Beatle wife wearing a hat. Yoko Ono. Not her newest album, but this came out about 3-4 years ago, the album prior to the newest. Plastic Ono Band, or the newly version of that, with Sean Lennon and a bunch of other artists. A cool photograph there as well. You know, some people wear hats better than others, but look how fucking hot and artsy, wonderful. I mean, Prince wears a hat, Spanish hat. I can't wear that hat, but I think it's a cool hat. 12-inch single mountains. A certain style that some of these artists have. Bowie has it. There's that last picture of Bowie that's not on an album cover, unfortunately, that we saw just before he died of him on the streets of, looks like streets of Soho wearing this hat. I don't have that here, but going now with Jerry Jeff Walker, one of the renegade country artists of the 70s, still around, you know, Austin, Texas, outlaw country rock, more on the countryside. And that great song LA Freeway is on here. No hats inside, but probably his best record. Yep, Jerry Jeff. And another great person who always wore his flat Spanish hat is Jimmy Ray Vaughan, right? Stevie Ray Vaughan, Jimmy Ray Vaughan, Stevie Ray Vaughan. And Double Trouble, Texas Flood. That whole Texas hat thing is so cool. I don't really do the cowboy hat thing very well, but some people do, like Katie Lang. You know, hats are great props. It just, let me switch off here. Let me put, this is a style I really like. Here we go. We're doing pork pie. Oh. This is the only hat I own that was custom made for me. It might look silly in this picture when you're not used to it, but there was a woman who used to be in San Francisco, a milliner, and she custom made this hat for me. Look at this inside. Beautiful fabric, right? House of Nines was her company, and now she moved to France because she got pushed out of San Francisco because of the high rents. But this is perfect when you're talking about the blues. Willie Dixon, you know, blues man, jazz man. They wear the hats well. This is kind of that jazzy, kind of bluesy thing. Or you could, you know, give me an organ grinder and a monkey, and I could be you know what I'm talking about. It's like, almost like, was it Zeppo, Leppo, Chico Marx, or this kind of type of hat? Okay. Those of you that like country, but like edgy country, that's a little folky rock, that's Moody, Jim White. He made a series of records on Luca Bop, which was the label that David Byrne kind of started, part of Sire and Warner Brothers. And this came out on vinyl only a few years ago, maybe 5 years ago. I have all his CDs, and they're spectacular albums. But Jim White, I recommend this, you know, check him out. When Jesus Gets a Brand New Name, The Road Leads to Heaven. I mean, you wouldn't even know these songs. Stabbed in the Heart, Book of Angels. But beautiful record. Really interesting. It's, you know, it's hard to do country and make it unique. And this is one of those guys that, in my opinion, does it really well. You know, I don't know what he's done lately, but every time the CDs came out on Luca Bop, I picked those up. And of course, the Cowboys, Bob Wills and his Texas Playboys. This is an early 90s sort of reunion album they did. And it's a great record. A lot of great cowboy and country musicians. Merle Haggard's on this. God, who else? Well, a lot of great people of the Nashville Western thing going on. But Bob Wills. Another Bob Wills, but this is like a great cover. Look at that, huh? Bob Wills and his Texas Playboys. But on here, it's funny that Playboys is 2 words here, and it's not usually, I don't think. Yeah, he always did it with 1 word as Playboys, but this album shows it as 2. Interesting. Didn't know if that's an error, but look at that illustration. So great, right? And lastly, I'm just going to show one more. Sons of the Pioneers, Cool Clear Water. I talked about that on another video. It's kind of a fun song. One of the greatest cowboy songs ever written. So that's it. That's Mazzy's Hat Room. You can read about all kinds of hats in these books. And I'll close out by just giving you a little tour of the hats here. Anyway, get the idea. Mazzy out, enjoy it. And those of you going to Record Store Day, enjoy that. If you're watching this after it, doesn't matter, does it? Take care. So, my birthday last year, someone gave me a paint by numbers Jesus, already painted. I thought it was a cool thing. As a Jew, I love Jesus jokes, and I don't want to offend anyone out there, but I thought that was a cool gift. You know, the man has everything. Give him a paint by numbers Jesus. Take care. Bye, VC.